Happy Monday, gamers. We are back with some modern action. No twin this time around, no hollow one this time around, but we have plenty of twin and hollow one for you all to enjoy in the coming days that we are posting up. Now we're going for the burst, the speed, with a Phoenix Prowess list and a Gruul Zoo Prowess. So if you guys saw Gruul Prowess, basically Pro Tour over the summer, it has like super powerful explosive turns. It's kind of like that and the old school Zoo decks fused together. Where the other side of the table is a Phoenix Prowess list with Faithless Looting be now unbanned. Of course, Arclight Phoenix is back in Modern as potential decks. You'll see a lot of players test them out in like a Is It style. I am jamming it in a kind of Prowess list, just because there is a lot of graveyard hate and shenanigans that people are running to try to hate out Phoenix, or just other decks in general, like Dredge and things like that. So like having kind of a secondary strategy is a really good way of doing it. I've really enjoyed testing out and playing the deck. Still not as clean and efficient with it, but I wanted to showcase this match in particular before I get into some other ones. We also have some Boros Energy gameplay to show you guys. So lots of different games to be able to utilize for you. Of course, every Monday and Thursdays, you will be able to see new modern action over here on the channel and a sprinkling of content on Saturdays, whether it's podcast episodes, MTGO content, all kinds of fun and exciting stuff for y'all to be able to enjoy here. But Dragon's Rage Channeler, of course, MVP back in Modern in specific decks, and like the Phoenix list with it is great because you're surveilling. If there's a Phoenix on top, we throw it in the graveyard, be able to kind of set ourselves up here. So we'll see how things go. But I wanted to showcase both these lists because they have that explosive potential. And if your opponent is going to be sitting here and trying to set themselves up with doing some Pester Mite shenanigans or combo you out, some speed is pretty good. And both these decks have a lot of potential to blow up and explode and do stuff. But we already are seeing our Gruul Prowess list over here, the Zoo list, starting to zap and clear out some of the creatures. Bobble's going to be nice to kind of help us out. I talked about this last episode when we were going through and seeing the adventures of the Hollow One deck, and how much it matters for the Surveil triggers and Bobble triggers and all these things. And being someone that is not as familiar with it, because you guys know I was playing Infect, I was playing Jeskai Control, I've been playing a lot more of those, and I'm sitting here and missing some triggers, missing some Surveil triggers, missing some Bobble triggers. Like there's extra stuff that I am missing that I shouldn't be missing. But there is that kind of fun adventures of learning new decks and kind of picking up and making the mistakes to then be like, okay, cool, I know where the mistakes are, I know where I have to fix my gameplay and how I need to adjust it going forward here. But the other thing is, it's like there are certain creatures that matter a lot more than others in this matchup, and we'll talk about it when they show up. But here's that kind of zoo elements that go along with this list. I know I'm kind of marking it down as more of a Prowess list, and we'll talk about why, but it does have that old school, like, Curd Ape style of zoo. A lot of people are more familiar with, like, the Domain Zoo of present-day Modern, but, like, pre-Modern Horizons, pre-Dominaria, remastered Adventures, or Return to Dominaria, we got to see, like, the wild Nacatls, the Curd Apes, the Lone Lions. Like, it was a cool deck that existed back in the day. So our Prowess player, our Gruul player specifically, he's going for that route of, I wanted to take kind of a nostalgia trip now that Modern's in this crazy fluctuating state of here's nostalgia, as well as some new updated powerhouse cards that I can be able to utilize here. And on the other side, it's the Soulscar Mage. Basically, a lot of creatures. Like, you can see the graveyard, right? There's 2 Swift Spears, there's Dragon Rage, there's a 2 Bobble. Like, there's been a lot of digging. Maybe the hand keep was a bit greedier. you know, of course, all the normal Prowess players or normal Phoenix players are like, yeah, this was a greedy keep right now if your opponent is sitting here on 3 lands and you're at 1. But here is the update, the fusion, the Prowess power, and the top priority creature that you need to be worried about if you fight against a Prowess list in 2024, 2025 even, because it's December. We're about to jump into 2025. So Slick Shot Show Off. It's a Prowess that cares about +2 attack, but the power of this is it's flying, it's haste. You could also plot it and sneak it in later on, but the big thing is we're going to start doing some burst damage here. All right, lightning bolts coming down, and the debate the here is, do we go face or do we go creature? And we kind of are like, okay, we talked through it, or at least our Prowess player, the Gruul player, was like, okay, I could target your Soulscar Mage, but you're on 1 land. I don't think you could just kill me off of this. I'll target you instead. And then there's that burst damage, right? Of course, that trigger for our Slick Shot. And then we do quick count. Hey, there's this many cards in the graveyard. Because there are big burst spells, right? The reason you're doing the Gruul side of things are things like Become Immense, Scale Up, right? You get access to these huge, powerful pump spells that things get out of hand really, really crazy. And then we just kind of got blockers on the ground. Doesn't really help us against a flying little bird wizard there, but that's okay. As long as our opponent doesn't have a crazy pump spell or something, we could at least block the Curd Ape here and kind of buy ourselves some turns. But nope, there is an Assault Strobe here to give it double strike, and that would be enough to just kind of, let's just clear things up here. We're not gonna play it out. Let's go into game 2. Let's get some sideboard options and kind of fluctuate and go from there. But yeah, this was the first run. Of course, the deck lists for both these are going to be in the description. You can follow us on Moxfield to know when new decks are updated. Also, leave a comment if for whatever reason the lists aren't up and you're like, hey, what's that list? Give me that list. I want to know it, and we'll just share that with you. Also, let us know what other cool decks. A lot of people were talking about what decks they're seeing. Tell me what decks you're seeing at your shop, right? Is there a lot of fluctuation? Are you seeing a lot of twin? Are there a lot of opals running around? I'm really excited to try out my Jeskai twin list that I've put together. I'm kicking myself because I wanted to play it this specific week for the recordings that we did, and I forgot it at home, and so I was on the Phoenix Prowess list that I just sort of jammed together. It definitely needs a little tweaking, a little changing, some adaptations to it. I do not have the Surveil lands currently in this list. It needs them because they are all in other decks, and I just haven't. Again, I mean, I need to. I feel like that's the running theme of 2024 is Nan needs more Surveil lands. All right, let's do some Bobble. Of course, DRC helping us out. Fill up our graveyard here. We've got a Curd Ape we're facing down. Goal is to try to get that Delirium going. Dragon Rage Channeler seems great in a Phoenix build. No matter what, even if you're going like the all-in cantrip as much as possible, I still like the idea of Dragon Rage Channeler just adding extra value here. The other thing is we, have a deck now with Faceless Looting, and I feel like we didn't cast it very much, or at least not as much as we would like. All right, it's a really cool card, really powerful. Weren't hitting it as much as we needed to at least that week. Still did pretty good with the deck, decent. We didn't go into like a negative record, but Power of Manamorphose is really nice. Of course, we're going to generate double red here. Do some surveilling. Whatever it was, we're going to be throwing that in the graveyard. We'll draw the next card. So double red. Let's see what we can utilize that for. All right, creature, instant, land, and artifacts. We do already have access to our Delirium, and one of our red, we're going to utilize Faithless Looting. So if we're keeping track of spells that we've cast this turn, that is our second spell. Of course, we do get another Surveil trigger, and we'll put that into our graveyard. All right. One last red. Do we have another spell here to utilize that last bit? Looks like we do, and we'll just bolt this. Now, here's one thing. We talked about seeing the slick shot show off. You know, playing this matchup or playing against the Prowess, that is your priority. Yes, we're using the bolt here just so we can get access to our third spell and be able to get the Phoenix out of the graveyard. But holding on to lightning bolts are really important for killing off and dealing with the slick shot show off, since that's the big burst of the deck, right? You look at just the amount of pump spells that are in here. There's mutagenic growth, there's the groundswell. Now mutagenic growth makes things weird, because if you're sitting here and you're going to bolt something and it's got, you know, it's a 1/2 and it goes, well, mutagenic growth, now it's got 4 toughness, you're not really doing anything, right? So there is that element of like, be aware mutagenic growth does exist as a card, and you might just go, well, your creature's saved. Or if there's green mana up, and they have ways to protect it in a Gruul Prowess strategy. All right, so be mindful of that. But that was kind of that turn that you saw for the Phoenix player was a lot of what you can expect. Of like, all right, Manamorphose, Faithless Looting, play a third spell, boom, bring our Phoenix back. Burst damage. We already have a Dragon Rage Channeler. We've got Delirium, and you get a good like swing for 6 damage. And those are the kind of swings that you're hoping to hit, right? We're trying to be hitting for like 6 damage when we're moving to combat. If you're doing a little bit less, that's fine, 3, whatever. But like that's kind of your ideal goal if your deck is running and functioning the way it's supposed to be functioning. All right, a Prowess player. Looks like we're going to be going into our plotting. Yep, so we kind of just tuck that away. Plot mechanic is very cool, very powerful with the Slick Shot. It's just sort of, hey, this is hidden away over here. We're going to be able to bring it back in a bit. So, cast it for the price of for free later on. Yeah, what do you think about these basic lands? We've got 2 very different mountain choices going off. Phyrexian versus the kind of celestial constellation style there. And we're going to meet the plotted Slick Shot with a plotted Slick Shot of our own. Of course, Dragon Rage Channeler has to attack, so we guarantee going to swing for 3. Now, you could make the option of, oh, swing for 6. You just talked about swinging for 6. Yes, but there is a way for our opponent to gain trample, but absorbing some of the hits off of this and maybe even trading off, a Phoenix for a Slick Shot is probably worth it. Or if they're wasting removal spell to kill our Phoenix to push for extra damage, it's still probably worth it for us to attempt to keep it back here. Because if we just start dumping our spells again, we'll be okay. All right, so there is a Lava Dart. Lava Dart, Mutagenic Growth. So you're sitting here and you're trying to math it out. Play Slick Shot. Play a land. Let's see. How much damage can you do? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. The Lava Darts would be 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a lot of damage. All right. Math is hard. All right. So here's the swing in. Yeah, so then we could easily just do the blocks. So this is that thing. Like, we have a groundswell. I don't know. I like the idea of just going, let's try to push it. Or maybe you're playing it safe, right? There's one mountain left. You're worried about a bolt or something and going all in it. But the groundswell protects us from that. So if that was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You deal 15 damage and go all in that turn. And your opponent drops to 4. You're down a mountain. I don't know. I don't mind that. But that's under the assumption we would lose 2 life, so we'd be at 6, and basically we're dead on the crackback, right? So here we go. So we saved our Lava Dart for this. We talked about the Slick Shot is the key thing to try to fight over and get rid of. So, okay, here we go. Slick Shot show off here. This is our battle. This is our fight over it. So now it's that kind of debate of, how much are we going to commit, and are we going to try to save it? What are we going to do? We don't really have access to things like, we don't have access to, the mutagenic growth as a Phoenix player like the Gruul deck does. So now it's like, all right, our opponent's at 8. How are we going to be able to work through this and navigate this next stage? Manamorphose is going to come out, at least Dragon Rage Channeler trigger, put something in the graveyard, we'll draw a card. Can we get 3 spells together? That's the question. All right. 2 extra mana, an extra draw, maybe we can, and then we get the kill off here. Unlikely, though, because even if we swing in for 6, right, our opponent's at 8, we would have to have one of those cards that we draw or utilize be a Lightning Bolt or a Lava Dart of our own. So yeah, we will let the Manamorphose resolve, get a little bit more information, and doing that in response is good for us because the more information we have, the better. We can make more informed decisions. So Lava Dart resolves. Now we're going to sacrifice this mountain to blast that, killing off our Slick Shot, which is, not ideal, but it's not the worst that happens. So cast 1 spell. Looks like we'll do the flashback of the Faithless Looting. And this is also because we saw the Groundswell and we saw the Lava Dart. That's 2 less spells, 3 cards left in hand. We're sitting at 19. We're under the assumption that our opponent can't hit us for 19 next turn. And we're just following up and setting ourselves up for potentially the win here. I mean, it depends on what we drew, right? If we, again, drew into a land and 1 more spell, our Phoenix comes back and we again go for 6. So we've cast Manamorphose and Faithless Looting so far. No more mana left, but we still have a land drop that we can do since we were on the play this time. So again, there's a lot more thinking and trying to go through it and understand the lines, because again, math is hard, and it's like, my goal is to get the Phoenix out of the graveyard. Is there any other lines that I have to help me get there? And this will drop us to 17. Yeah, checking graveyard. Okay, we've got at least 1 Phoenix in there. Is there any other thing else? Bolt. There we go. And that's enough that we need. We did draw the Lightning Bolt, dropping our opponent to 5. Move to combat now. 3rd spell has been used. Arclight Phoenix returns from the graveyard. And we still have Delirium. So there's 6 flying damage coming across to tie things up 1-1 here. Both of these decks
not good, but I bring it.
Are very focused on that burst, right? Phoenix Prowess this time won on turn 4. So it's like this speed is really, really good. And very much this matchup depends on who is on the play.
I was hoping you didn't get the 1-drop spell. I know, that's why I kept digging.
We're sitting here talking about hoping that you didn't get that 1-drop spell. Yeah, that's the tough. All right, so now it's in that mode of Game 3. Will we see another big burst happening? Curd Ape coming out here to start things out. Fetch, shock, get that lovely little red-green forest mountain adventures here with our Stomping Grounds to be able to help boost up our Curd Ape to become a 2/3. And this is the Lightning Bolt adventures going, Curd Ape is a creature. The deck doesn't run as many creatures because it's not as full on the prowess that it like other versions. So maybe going for the Curd Ape is the play. No, it's not. We talked about it early on. Everybody needs to make note. What is the creature that we are most worried about? Slick Shot Show Off. All right. And speaking of Slick Shot Show Off, there is one in hand for our Prowess player, or Gruul player here. I guess they're both Prowess players, right? There's a fetch down for a mountain. Again, getting that cool celestial constellation mountain. Yeah, for those that are still with us at the 20-minute mark, I appreciate you guys sticking with us this year. We are getting close to the end of the year. 926 of you guys have all subscribed to, since you guys have been showing your support. I really appreciate you all. We're pushing towards that 1,000 mark and beyond. That's our big goals for 2025. Keep pushing, keep producing great content for all of you out there to be able to watch and enjoy. But we do a double play here. Dragon Rage Chandler, Soulscar, Mage. Try to set up, and we're at 16. Hope that we have an extra turn here to set ourselves up for the follow-up, right? So it's okay, we're on turn 2. Our opponent's going into their turn 3. When they have something crazy, they're going to do a slick shot. We know that. So let's see how they do about it. And there's the for the price of for free. Here's the slick shot coming out. All right, 4 cards, nothing but gas. So here's the first thing. Scale up's going to go off. So that is now a 6/4 worm. He, of course, gets the +2, so there's 8 damage coming around. Now, again, if there was the Assault Strobe, we're just dead, right? Double strike for 8. Yeah, gross. But what we do get is a Monstrous Rage, +2, also plus the additional 2. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 because it puts the roll token. Do we get another 3? And there's Xaxes for the Lightning Bolt for the last bit. So, yeah, turn 3 kill, 16 damage in 1 turn. The power of the Gruul Prowess coming out right there. And that was that note, that moment here going back through. We had that debate, should we play this slick shot and go for the blocks here and just chump block? I think I need to try to play my turn and try to set myself up for the next thing. It didn't work out so well there, just seeing how explosive that deck worked out. But our Lightning Bolt, saving it wouldn't even have helped us. Like if we tried to Lightning Bolt and be like, Dragon Rage Channeler Lightning Bolt situation, and it wouldn't have worked because there was the mutagenics. There was there's responses that could have happened that it wouldn't even have mattered there. So I really wanted to show off these 2 decks in particular because of the speed at which they play. It's going to be important going forward in the current modern meta. But we're going to be showing you guys a lot of other cool decks. Of course, more Twin coming up. We've also got some Boros Energy. A lot more of these Prowess and Phoenix strategies to be able to showcase. And then in 2025, you'll see some cool other decks there. But thanks for tuning in and watching, everybody, and I'll see you all next game.